What's up, folks? Welcome back to TacticalTortoise. My name is Trevi, and today we're going to be talking real quickly about some new Tyranid rules that just got previewed today, August 17th, on Warhammer Community. It's been so long since Blood of Baal, and the Tyranid faction has been chilling, basically unloved, with no new rules, no new inklings of new rules, but now in Warzone Octarius Rising Tide, we do have some previews of new rules. Now, a big question that's not answered in this article is how this is going to sort of interact with an updated Tyranid Codex. I have heard a rumor that the Xenos Codex that's slated for release in 2021 is the Tyranid Codex that will be coming out sometime in November or December. I don't think that that's the case. I think the more reasonable scuttlebutt is that it's Genestealer Cult. If it is a new Tyranid Codex, whether or not they go the route of Adeptus Mechanicus, where the Adeptus Mechanicus in Drukhari, I guess, Codex comes out alongside extra rules for the faction in their Warzone book, in the Warzone Sheridan books, I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be basically another stopgap, like a lot of the Psychic Awakening books were, and there are going to be new rules to add on to the existing rules, and then those will all get probably rewritten when a new codex comes out in 2022 or beyond. But we'll have to see how it goes. I do think, in fairness, to the people who want a new Tyranid Codex, I think that's definitely a fair desire. But I think that there are other factions in the game right now that really need it more. I mean, Genestealer Cult are one of them. They don't work that good, and I think Tyranids are just fine. They're not good right now. They're certainly overshadowed by the newest releases, but they can mix it up with the mid-level stuff, and you can give them first turn. They can kill a Drukhari army. I think Tyranids are okay for a little while, especially with some of these updates here. But what we're going to be talking about today in this preview are these rules called Synaptic Links. Now, Synaptic Links are essentially a command phase buff ability. Imagine something like a Chapter Master aura, but they work a little bit differently than other people's command phase ability selection. So Tyranid's becoming kind of the Xenos AdMech, I guess, with all of these characters giving out individual buffs in the command phase. Now, the interesting thing about these abilities is that they are given out to units within synapse range, or they say synaptic link range, which is normally 12 inches. I imagine that it is just range of your synapse, so a Hive Tyrant would be 18, although they do indicate that a Hive Tyrant is also only 12, which is confusing. I would prefer that Synapse has all of these abilities rolled up into it rather than having to measure literally 3 separate aura abilities off of a Hive Tyrant, because its Synapse aura is different than its than its Shadow and the Warp aura, which would be different than its Synaptic Link aura, and I wish those were all just one number, but, it is what it is. So it seems to me like it's just going to be locked at 12 inches, maybe there's an upgrade to make it farther or something like that, but as long as you are within the Synaptic Link of another Synapse creature, you can use that, you can project that Synapse creature's Synaptic Link abilities. This is such a sweet ability. It's super cool. So if you have 2 Synapse creatures within 12 inches of each other, one of them has a Synaptic Link range, you can target any Tyranid unit in 12 inches of either of them with that Synaptic Link ability. So it's going to reward very careful positioning, because, we're talking about Broodlords specifically here. That's sort of a mid to front line level unit that wants to be up, mixing it up, supporting your Genestealers up in the front there. But like they're talking about in this diagram, if it has an ability that you really want to pass back to the rest of your army, you can, set up the turn previous to chain a Hive Tyrant back to be projecting that aura back to your stuff in your back line, and that's super cool. Synapse webs on point. I love it. Now we get 2 examples of this ability, and they're essentially chapter command style abilities. So they cost a points value to upgrade the character with the ability. And in this case, I think it's 15 points for both of them. But they come out swinging here with this Mastery of Shadows ability. We'll talk about that momentarily. They give an example for a Neurothrope keyworded one. So it seems like all of them are going to be only applicable to a single character type. The Neurothrope one, Psychic Creep, gives a 6-inch aura of -1 leadership, -1 combat attrition tests to whatever you target with. This is totally worthless. And they talk about wanting to put it on fast units, things like gargoyles or whatever. And yeah, I mean, if this was like 5 points, maybe I'd do it. But like for 15 points, no way. I mean, there's situations in which it would be useful. I'm sort of envisioning like you're throwing a Smashy Hive Tyrant up there. It kills all but one model in a unit, and you want to be able to confirm that kill with the combat attrition test. But 15 points, man, for a Neurothrope that is already supposed to be very cheap. That's kind of the reason you take Neurothropes. Yeah, this one's garbage. But the other one, Mastery of the Shadows, the Broodlord Synaptic Link upgrade. Oh my god. May fundamentally change how Tyranids operate. Like all the Synaptic Link abilities, you target a unit within the Synaptic Link range, so within 12 inches or 12 inches of another Synapse creature within 12 inches. Models in the unit are treated as having the benefits of both light and heavy cover. Sweet. We're turning on our adaptive camouflage. This works on any model, so we're giving light and heavy cover to monsters, to Hierodules, to Harridans, Hierophants, maybe. Seems good. I'm all in. There's a second clause here. Each time a ranged attack is made against this unit, excluding monsters, if the attacker is more than 12 inches away, the unit is having the benefit of dense cover. So this is essentially the Stygius ability out of the new Adeptus Mechanicus Codex. Outside of 12 inches away, you are -1 to be hit. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on monsters. So this is, immediately I was like, well, this is kind of less worthwhile, because I'm most excited about using this on monsters to keep monsters being the models who are most often in line of sight. So not being able to apply dense cover to the monster units is a little bit sad, although I can definitely understand that it would, in situations, be maybe broken. The thing that I remembered was that the #1 predator for Hive Guard especially is like opposing indirect fire, which oftentimes doesn't have a way to get through dense cover. I think very little indirect fire ignores dense cover wholesale. Most of the indirect fire that does ignore cover ignores cover that adds to your armor save. And a lot of it is significantly impacted by the -1 to hit from dense cover. For example, if you're in a Tyranid mirror match and your Hive Guard are against, opposing Hive Fleet Kronos Hive Guard, and your Hive Guard are -1 to hit, which means they turn off enemy Symbio Storms, that's a super tough nut to crack. Even though your opposing Hive Guard are going to be ignoring that light cover, they are going to be -1 to hit, which just cuts their damage output significantly down. You can imagine something like Imperial Guard Manticores having the same problem. Even Eldari indirect fire, with Masterful Shots only ignore cover that add to your armor save, and so they will also be impacted by dense cover and be dealing significantly less damage to your own Hive Guard, and I think that is super good. So Hive Guard as the flagship unit of Tyranids right now, and the unit, as boring as it is, the unit that tends to push Tyranids through a lot of tougher matchups, losing those models early, especially in a bad matchup where your opponent has the ability to kill them, is super bad. But free and clear application of dense cover to whichever unit of Hive Guard you want is super powerful. That said, if your opponent doesn't have any of that stuff, you can just apply light and heavy cover to a big monster. The light and heavy cover effect will still benefit those guys. So, for example, a lot of people are playing Hierodules in Jormungandr right now to get them to that delicious 1+ armor save. The downside is that you don't get the benefits of Hive Fleet Kronos. Now you do. Now you can play a Hierodule. You can give it cover permanently with this Broodlord. A Broodlord is not a bad unit to have already. It swings okay on melee. It's got decent psychic output. They're not particularly survivable, but you're probably bringing Gene Stealers, so it's already buffing your Gene Stealers. A Broodlord is a perfectly serviceable pick. So for 15 additional points over that standard Broodlord point cost, you also can just buff up that Hierodule to a 1+ save. I'm playing a Harridan right now. If you watch me over on Twitch, I've been playing a lot of games with the Harridan. Being able to give that thing a 2+ armor save on the first turn so that like AP2 weapons have a tough time getting through it. That's things like crack missiles, for example. That's a super big deal. And depending on what the other Synaptic Link abilities that we get in this Warzone book, it may be that I cut a Hive Tyrant out of my list to fit a Broodlord in to get this Synaptic Link ability. Really, we'll have to see what these other Synaptic Link abilities do. It sounds like they're pretty hit or miss. The Psychic Creep is totally worthless. But this light, heavy, dense cover to a unit almost anywhere on the table if you can chain out your Synaptic Links effectively is going to be phenomenal. They also talk about that there's going to be more Tyranid goodies within Rising Tide, so I'm sure we'll get more previews as things move along, but I'm already excited to play with some new rules. I think this is going to be super cool. We just need just give us something that deals more damage. I don't know. Synaptic Link for +1 to wound in melee. How's that? Anyway, just wanted to talk about this update real quick. Super excited for some new Tyranid rules. So keep them coming, Warhammer Community. Drop us some more Tyranid goodies. Anyway, that's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope everybody is having a good one. For those who haven't already, I'm streaming a ton this week over at twitch.tv/TacticalTortoiseTV. If you haven't followed over there, I would really appreciate it. I also want to throw a big shout out to all my subscribers over there, as well as YouTube channel members and patron supporters. All of you folks are phenomenal, and I love you very much. Remember to keep it classy, folks, and have happy wargaming.